Welcome to Cash Talk, the podcast where we delve into the depths of finance, business, and life itself. I'm your host, John Cachia, a multi-award-winning wealth advisor with a passion for empowering ambitious Australians to confidently achieve financial freedom. Hey everyone, before we get started, this is a quick reminder that everything in this podcast is of a general nature and nothing has been tailored to your personal circumstances. So please seek personal financial advice before acting on this information. And welcome back to Cash Talk, and today I am joined once again by Ayten, fresh from her holiday. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very jet lagged, but refreshed. Lots of vitamin D, which is good.
Yeah, awesome. Looking nice and tan. So much beach.
Yeah, a lot of beach action, a lot of pool action, a lot of sun action. So yeah, it was nice. A bit too hot. I think next time might delay it a little bit.
Okay.
But it was, definitely nice. Nice getaway.
Yeah. Oh, I was a little bit jelly while you were away, but yeah, Melbourne was very good for winter, to be honest with you. Not much rain, so you were still able to do a few things, which was great. But we could talk about holidays till the cows come home. But today we're going to be talking about living a fulfilled life, because a lot of people come to see us about optimizing their finances, having a clear plan, and sometimes they come with the initial thing of I just want to build wealth, but reality, it's in the combination of being able to kind of live a fulfilled life. And it's interesting, obviously, you going on holidays, and I love holidays. So when we talk about living a fulfilled life, and maybe even yourself, if you can share your personal, why is holidays so important? Yeah, it's not a good financial decision, but why do you do that? Yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah. So, for me, obviously you're working hard during the year. For myself, the kids are young, they're going to childcare or kinder, whatever it is. You go away every now and then, but you don't really spend quality time with them. So you're really, for me, I'm working towards a purpose, spending some time with the family, but also we've got family overseas, so spending quality time with them as well. You're right, it's not a very financially savvy decision because in this day and age it costs a lot of money. But to keep yourself sane, that's what keeps our family sane, to kind of spend time together and enjoy travelling. We all enjoy travelling. So it's something that is important to our family. Probably important for your family as well.
Yeah, definitely. Travel is a staple in our cash flow allocation. We want to be making sure we're always allocating to living what we think is a fulfilled life. And a fulfilled life means many different things to many different people. Some people don't value holidays as much as I do, or don't at all. And, the same way that I might feel about a unique car or a piece of art, everyone's got their own sense of fulfillment. I think the most important thing is, Ayten, is understanding what truly makes you fulfilled. Yeah. Not the fulfillment of what the stigma or the society says or whatever's going to be. Really understanding what makes you fulfilled. And it takes a sense of really kind of looking in to understand if it does make you fulfilled. Some people say to me, John, going away with 3 kids sounds like a nightmare, not a holiday. And, I was even having a conversation with a guy today, and he's like, mate, we've got a 6-month-old. We're not even going interstate, let alone going overseas. And I'm just like, but it makes us fulfilled, and I'm not there to kind of portray what makes me fulfilled on someone else. And so that had to be me and my wife sitting there and going, okay, well, that really does make us fulfilled. Those small little memories of, being in the Mediterranean or being in the Colosseum or whatever it was, that means the most for us. And if that means that we have to trade off some of our wealth to have those memories, we're willing to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. Everyone doesn't have the same goals and aspirations, right? So, what might be fun for somebody might not be fun for somebody else. So everyone has to kind of do something, I guess, for themselves that fulfills themselves. But what I really like about Thriving Wealth is the fact that you actually dive into what it is that makes clients fulfilled. And I think that's really important from a financial advisor perspective. Because traditionally, you go to a financial advisor, I want to go on a holiday every year, I want to buy a car, I want to upgrade my house, whatever it might be. And they're not really focusing on what makes you fulfilled and if that's actually what is fulfilling or filling your cup, essentially. So you're working towards, some goals, which are quite superficial, but at Thriving Wealth, you're really digging deep into those fulfillments.
Because if you're going to stay committed to the long-term strategy, you've got to have these sense of fulfillment along the way. You've got to enjoy the journey. You
Yeah,
can't
correct.
get to the end destination and then go, okay, well, now I'm going to live YOLO.
Yeah.
And having that balance is very, very important. And it's precision to get that right, because you can go on too much holidays. You can buy too many cars, buy too many suits or bags or whatever it's going to be. And then when the tap turns off, when you aren't working, then have a horrible last 20, 30 years of your life. So getting that, we don't take it lightly. That trade-off between today and tomorrow is done very intricately, and that's what we do. But it has to be something that they truly enjoy and truly love.
Yeah.
Because when you're not traveling, you're working your ass off. And so, and it's not just travel, whatever that goal is, I work hard and I play hard. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. You know, I'm on this fitness journey at the moment. I'm up at 4:45 in the morning. You know, I'm training. I'm like, by 8 o'clock, my health is taken care of.
Yeah.
Focus on that. Then my family, you know, because they're sleeping, then I take care of my family. Then I'm, like, you know, Ayten, maybe not a lot of people, like, I'm working my ass off when I need to work.
Yeah.
But then when I'm traveling, I'm enjoying my life.
Yeah.
You know, and so having that right balance to know that I'm working my ass off to enjoy those mornings, those time with my kids, those sense of what can I do on a weekly basis for fulfillment, and then monthly, because you're not going to go on a holiday every month. You're not going to go on a holiday, you know, like to, all every year. So how can we place those levels of fulfillment is only by knowing what the person truly wants.
Yeah, correct.
And so having an arrangement where you might work 4 days, not 5 days. You know, some people in our clients, for example, have gone back to their employers, for example, and said, well, I'm going to work longer hours and have that 5th day off. And then how do you make your money, being able to kind of facilitate that to go down to part-time if that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
Or if they want to make sure that they've got a holiday every year, how do you use your money as a vehicle to live those out? And I constantly go to, we have to make this a fulfillment game, because we're not in the game of sprinting, we're in the game of a marathon. And to wait 20, 30 years to get a sense of fulfillment, I've seen too many people do it that way, get to 30 years and then try and change their behavior. And then they're in this kind of scarcity mindset. They've never lived their life, they haven't enjoyed it. And it's only the people that are inheriting the money that truly get to kind of live on the money. And you can't take it with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also like burnout as well. I mean, like you said, you work hard. Imagine if you're at the same pace that whole time.
Yeah.
And obviously your relief is, or your fulfillment is the travel. So that helps you kind of relax and unwind, and whatever that goal might be for others, it will help them, you know, relax and unwind. It's impossible to be going full force the whole time. You know, obviously when you're doing a fitness journey, you kind of go ebbs and flows, right?
Yes.
So you're up first couple of weeks, you're motivated, you're doing it, and then you get to like the 4th or the 5th week and you're like drained. So at that point, if you stop, that's it. Like you're probably never going to go back.
Correct. It has to become a habit. And, you know, we're talking about like fitness and whatever, like when it comes to wealth, like if you talk about it like from a granular point of view, like you can have a budget. Everyone has created an Excel spreadsheet, created a budget, stuck with it for 3 months and then gone, nah, it's all too hard. There's an excuse. I had the holiday that I didn't have to do, or the car broke down, or whatever. Same as health. Like you have an injury. Like you have to get through.
Yeah.
And if you don't create those habits and those behaviors, you're just going to become like every single other person and not get to that level of financial freedom.
Yeah.
And like, you're right. Like you talk about fitness, like when you train at 5 o'clock in the morning and you see how many people are not running or not at the gym, versus you go to like 3 o'clock or 3:30 or 5 o'clock at night, it's packed. Now people might say that's just got to do with time. I don't think it is. The people that are truly dedicated are the ones that are at those unique hours that people don't see when most people are sleeping. And when it comes to like creating wealth, it's like you're willing to do what other people aren't.
Yeah.
You know, be patient. Plant seeds for fruitful trees. Make decisions when other people aren't making decisions. Like how many people talk about when the market crashes, I'm going to buy stocks and then don't. Well, that decision for you to be able to do that has only happened because you've created the behaviors,
Yeah, correct.
created the habits. You've also probably sacrificed along the way to have the level of cash or have the level of whatever you've got available to then take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah.
So for people thinking about how this kind of all maps out, you've got to have your behaviors done right. You've got to have the habits done right. And because of the habits and the behaviors, and then hopefully your kind of financial planning is sorted, it all needs to be pointed towards this level of fulfillment. Because you don't want to get to a destination and be like, that's not the life I wanted over the last 30 years.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be waking up in the morning, training my ass off, not to get the strength or the health that I don't want. I want the one that I do want.
Yeah.
So that's what's so important, in my opinion, to understand fulfillment and how that places in.
Yeah. And so, like, in terms of, obviously, the younger generation, there's like the whole talk about the FIRE, right? So, financially independent, but retire early. And people kind of look at that and go, retire early, yeah, that's great. I want to, retire when I'm 20 or 30. But it's not really about that, is it? It's more about having the time to do what you want to do. Did you want to maybe elaborate on that?
Well, I had a guy this morning come to see us, and he's like, I want to retire when I'm 50. And I don't like the word retire. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, what are you going to do for the next 30 years of your life, 40 years of your life? I'll do what I want to do. Cool. One of the biggest fulfilling things that I find is the ability to kind of be productive and actually produce to the wider community.
Yeah.
And if that is in the form of work, well, that's usually the normal case. I don't wake up kind of thinking, it's another day at the office. It's another day at work. Like, I've found something that I actually get a buzz of. I can't wait to start, turn the computer on, help the next person. So when you drive to fulfillment, I think there's a lot of big things about, like, I'm just miserable in what I do. You're pointing your energy at the wrong area.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to retire when you're 50, I'd argue that it's because you haven't found something you love.
Yeah.
I'll probably work to the day I die, Ayten. You've known me long enough to probably know that that's going to be the case. Yes, all right, it might not be in the exact role that I'm in right now, but helping people and build better lives, it's going to be something around that where, I'll probably over years and years and years specialize into more kind of niche, but that's where it's going to be because that value of that buzz is going to still be there when I'm 80 years old. It hasn't changed in the last 20 years. It's unlikely that it's going to change in the next 40, I would imagine. So, yeah, I have a real big kind of, I really think that people need to consider what they're actually aiming for. Because I don't know about you, Ayten, but, like, if you're 50 and you're not doing anything, I feel like I'm dying.
Well, yeah. I mean, it sounds good in theory, right? So you're 50, you're retired, you can do what you want. But then you sit back and you go, okay, well, I don't have a job. So what am I going to do with my day? Like, my friends are working potentially. My kids are doing their own things. They're not wanting to hang out with me for 24/7. What am I going to do? And the less that your mind is working, the more issues that creates mentally.
And the sacrifice you've had to get there, in most cases, I'm not saying everyone's cases, because if you can generate enough income, you can make that happen pretty quickly. Yeah. But in most, like, average Australians, that takes a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah.
And that is like a unhealthy diet we're talking. Like, I was listening to I was reading, an article where this guy kind of retired. I think it was like by 40 or mid 30s, and he survived just off like rice and something. It was like, it's like, you haven't even enjoyed life.
Yeah, correct.
Like, life is the greatest gift we have.
Yeah.
And so when we go to our first conversation around retiring, let's say by 50, the guy this morning, I'm like, who really cares the difference between 50 and 55? Like, that's just a number that you've plucked off your head.
Yeah.
There's no, like... And what we do, and I do this all the time with our clients to go, because a lot of people do come in. They'll be like, I want FIRE by 55. Cool. You can have that happen, but you're not going to have a holiday for 10 years. Oh. Well, if you have a holiday every 3 years, rather than it being 50, it's going to be now 58. I don't know about you. I'd rather work for another 8 years in something that I love and still enjoy my holidays along the way, if that's important. So getting that planning done right and how allowing your money to be the vehicle to get to enable the life you want, that is the most important.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is the understanding, don't focus too much on the end goal, which is important, but focus on the milestones along the way,
Yeah.
the fulfillment of the milestones. And for example, for me, that's the holiday. One of my big ones was to enable my money to be in a position to allow me to go on a big holiday every year, Europe and USA or something like that every year with my kids. Because I kind of thought about it and said, like, listen, if I do this over the next 50 years, like that's 50 big holidays. Like looking back on my life, imagine like the memory book. This is,
Yeah.
I remember, like, imagine the memory book that my kids are going to be able to share and the grandkids and the stories. Oh, I remember when we've already got stories
Yeah.
that make us giggle and laugh. Like that was my big milestones, which
Yeah.
lead to a big thing down there, like all of these countries and things that I've adventured. So that was one. The second one is, yes, I have big goals. Like I remember when I first started the business at 20, I was like, I want to be a millionaire by the time I was 30. That was like, and 20-year-old John's different to 35-year-old John. But at 20, it was like, I want to be a millionaire. That drove me to use my money to get to the position. But it changed along the way. And this is what people need to also understand. When my wife came into the picture, she's like, cool, John, like you're so focused on money and getting to where you need to get to, but you're not living life along the way. I was so focused on the becoming a millionaire because of the life that I thought it gave me.
Yeah.
But I had to deviate my thoughts for me to live life along the way. And for everyone to know, my wife's not in financial advice. Like she's a psychological background. And this is where we started to integrate psychology with thriving wealth because it's around like, she was right. She was right. I need to sacrifice. What was the difference between me being a millionaire at 30 and me being a millionaire at 40, for
Yeah.
example? That number is irrelevant. It was
Yeah.
plucked off my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So understanding what John truly wanted
Yeah.
and then opening up myself to be able to say, you know what? I can't be so fixated on these things. I need to be fixated on being better and more fulfilled every day because life throws curveballs at us. We now have 3 beautiful children.
Yeah.
My goals when I was pre-dad to now dad have completely changed.
Yeah.
So goals and milestones change and they adapt. But I wake up every morning and this morning you ask me, how are you? I'm absolutely blessed.
Yeah.
Because I'm focusing on what truly makes me fulfilled.
Correct. Yeah.
So there's a lot of psychology around goals, fulfillment, how they adapt and change even with me and Ayten. I'm sure it's the same with you. So that, and I think people are sometimes naive to think how much they actually change and evolve and adapt.
Yeah.
And so this is why we encourage people that to constantly be reassessing what makes them fulfilled. And we use the wheel of life. I use that with a lot of my friends and family and clients here and there around because we use a kind of different, more robust system. But if you want to use something that's very simple, the wheel of life is really good to see where certain areas in your life that you can work on and build and adapt. That helps you to become fulfilled. And then essentially you've got to build your money to point to those things.
Yeah.
Be health, career, love, spiritual, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, you're going to start to see a better version of you. You're going to start to see your money actually directed to fulfillment and financial freedom. But I'm going to put a massive caveat around this. You can't focus everything on your today. Getting that balance between today and tomorrow. That's where the precision comes from.
Yeah.
And I think thriving wealth and what you've seen, Ayten, as well, is that that's what we do really well.
Absolutely. I completely concur. But I want to go back to the point that you made before when you said like the wealth thing. So like clients come in and even friends and family, when you speak to them, unhappy in their life for whatever reason, and they think, okay, well, if I had this money, I would just be happy. And to a certain degree, yes, but you need to be able to utilize that money. But how much they need it varies. So going back to what you're saying, I wanted to be a millionaire, doesn't really change the way that you're acting, your behaviors. So I think people, the misconception about being a millionaire and how that's going to change your life, they think it's all about the money, but it's going back to what you were saying before about the habits.
Yeah, the 20-year-old John didn't know what actually made him really fulfilled.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't allowed to have alcohol, shouldn't have been allowed because I wasn't mature. I didn't have the brain function to understand what made me truly fulfilled. It takes journey in life to actually walk through the process and actually know what makes me fulfilled. And I'm only a quarter, hopefully, of the journey.
Yeah.
Like John at 80, 90, hopefully 100, he's going to be much more connected into who I am and my fulfillment is going to change along the way. So it adapts. And that's what people need to realize. But it's you made a point around like different incomes, different levels of wealth. And someone who's close to me, I was having a great conversation. We were having a barbecue at my house and his financial situation is average Joe, I'm going to say. He's renting, 3 kids, both people work, average jobs. And from the outside, like I've got some pretty affluent friends that I hang around with, and we're having a conversation before that conversation about like, we hopefully everything works out for this couple. But I asked him, I said, like, how are you? Because I'm good. So I'm really happy. I have 3 beautiful children. I have no worries. I don't have a mortgage over my head. I don't need to stress. And so fulfillment for him is different to fulfillment for the driven person who wants a specific piece of art. And so if you don't understand that person's fulfillment, how can you take that money to then apply it for that person? You might, for example, and to take this practically speaking, as a financial advisor, we might be, if we didn't ask the right questions and do the right understanding and understand the person, we might be taking too much risk for what that person wants to actually achieve. So why speed to a destination if you don't need to be there in that speed?
Yeah.
If you can take it slower and safer and still get to the fulfillment, you're not going to look back at your life and go, oh, I should have sped. It's not going to happen. It's going to be like, I'm there, but you have to be true to that. You can't fake it. It can't be like, oh, I'm happy and superficially happy.
Yeah.
You need to be happy at the core.
Yeah, correct.
Because then what can happen is you can take not enough risk or not take the strategies and then end up at the destination and go, I was lying. Actually, I really wanted that, but I didn't want to tell you. Then you're in a sad scenario where you've now gone down a pathway and you really wanted something else. Yeah. And so you've got to find yourself so then you can point your money and your strategies to do what you want to do. And also not to get caught up with trying to live someone else's life. Too many people I see today, it's like, why'd you buy the car? Oh, I wanted it. Did you?
Yeah.
Did you?
Especially in this day and age with like social media, and everything is posted on social media. So it's easy to kind of compare yourself with what other people are doing, even though who knows what's happening in the background. You see so much on social media. If you actually speak to the person, they're so depressed, or something else is happening in their life that is making them unfulfilled in that environment, in that respect, and they're trying to portray something else. So, it's important to not keep up with the Joneses.
Correct. And like, even if you use my travel as an example, like, if seriously, like, I love history. Like, that's my big thing. So, like, where we go, like, you ask my wife, like I do history, like I learn about the history of the place, understand that, like this trip that we're about to go on and embark on, I've like mapped out all the historical places, why I want to go there, the importance of them. And I'm like, beforehand, I'm telling my boys and I'm like, this is what it is. And they're like, Dad, yeah. But like, so I get a true fulfillment out of the places I go to. And like, I can't fake that.
Yeah.
Like a holiday to Europe with 5 kids, like, even like not business class, I'm talking economy, that's 50 grand.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you. I don't want to spend 50 grand on something that's making someone else happy because I want to post some photos on Instagram.
Yeah.
I do it because I love it and I actually live and breathe it and I'm so excited and my wife's on the journey and I'm telling her this and I don't know if she's on the journey because it makes me so fulfilled and she's just like, yep, I want to sit next to the beach. I don't know, but she loves it as well. But, you know, we talk about like cars, for example, because my wife's a big car person. And like I like cars, but not at the level that my wife likes cars, which is quite strange. Yeah. But we've talked about like me buying a sports car because she loves sports cars and that I should get a sport. And growing up, I always wanted this kind of 911 turbo. It was my thing. And I remember my wife going to me and she's like, John, you know that goal that you said that you can get to actually get the Porsche? You can go get the Porsche if you want. And she's like, why haven't you? And I'm like, well, I've kind of outgrown it. I've evolved. Like what made the 14-year-old John fulfilled is different to what makes the John now fulfilled. And I really think that if I went and bought that Porsche, that I'd probably enjoy it for about 2 weeks and I'd get over it. I'd be like, yeah, that's not for me. So, you know, what do I do to compromise? Yeah, I'd probably still want to do it just for the milestone perspective to say tick. But, you know, it's probably going to be in the form of like going and actually, you know, how I don't know if you know, you can get like those days where you can go do like Porsche days just to get like the kick out of me.
Yeah, I was just going to say you could probably do something like that.
That's what I think. It's probably a more cost-effective thing, but it's around where do you choose your money to go to? And obviously I'm talking at a much different level to, you know, what small milestones. Like I was talking to a client the other day just around like you love running. Go buy yourself a new pair of shoes. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, you're telling me to spend money? I'm like, well, if you don't enjoy, like, if you don't buy those shoes, you're waiting for the end goal. You run, you like running, and you're going to be running all the time and looking at your brand new shoes that are comfy because I've rewarded myself for the effort.
Yeah.
So it's very important to figure out what makes you fulfilled. Big, medium, small. Understand it adapts. Understand it evolves. Constantly reviewing it and adjusting it. And then coupled with that is then making sure all of your investment strategies and all of your money is pointed to ensuring that all of those happen. Ayten, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to let you get some sleep. Yes. I know that we've kind of rocked the same top. We're twinning today. Awesome. But thank you everyone for watching and listening to this episode. If you're liking these episodes, subscribe on YouTube or follow us on all major music platforms. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Ayten.
Thanks, John.